Greetings, YouTube. Today I'm going to talk about Ankylosaurus, or Ankylosaurs, which is my favorite dinosaur. And I have two different figures here today, and I'll start with the Schleich. Now this is very much the classic Ankylosaur look, a high domed back, domed in this direction as well, very broad, with very distinct rectangular back plates, and with each back plate having one distinct horn, and of course the famous Ankylosaurus Club. And you might be asking yourself, but Tetsubo, whose name means club, why do you like the Ankylosaur so much? Well, it's a walking armored spiked tank with a club on the end. How could I not like that? Now, this has got some decent sculpting, and this is very much an anatomically correct Ankylosaurus. It looks very much like you would see in a museum if you were to see a replica or a representation of their skeleton. I really quite liked, like in here, the folds of the skin I thought were very well done. The label is kind of annoying in there. This section here is believable. I think it leaves a little bit to be desired. Some of the detailing here on the underside I think is a little lackluster, but I like the coloration. I like the overall, the docile nature of this. I mean, they are herbivores. Nice broad pads of their feet. It definitely has the look of a very powerful, kind of slow, plodding creature. But I mean, I'm sure that they could move fast enough to use their club. I mean, they had to be able to spin around quickly to use this. It isn't a long device, and it was quite effective. But I mean, if something's going to be going after a herd of these, they're going to have a very difficult time, because that's some impressive armor they have there, and some built-in defensive weaponry. And the next I have here, this is the Papo version. Now, the first thing you're going to be noticing about this, it is a much more svelte, lithe design. It is just a much more dynamic pose with it's rearing up on its hind legs. The hind legs are significantly longer than the front legs. I've heard people say that this is not the most anatomically correct version of this creature, and I would have to concur. It doesn't look perfect. For example, that club, it just looks too large for the overall design, and the back very much looks like a crocodile. So instead of having very distinct bony plates that are very easily recognizable as the type that they have found, you have something that looks very crocodile-like. But it is a very dynamic pose, and again, nice skin folds in here, and look at that face. I mean, that's with the mouth wide open. They had a beak type of arrangement in here for snipping off plants and such. That I particularly like the facial horns in here. I thought they were quite interesting. These horns here are very similar to what you'd find in the real Ankylosaurs. They find, the bones they found. These back here don't look quite as good. Again, they were looking more of the crocodilian design, which is fine. But the scaling in here, I don't know if you can see this clearly, but this detailing in here, that is just beautiful. The sculpting on this is just stupendous. It really is. I got this one here off of Amazon, and I bought this one at a toy store at the mall. This was, I think, $12, and this was like, I think, $14, which I got for free shipping because I bought more than one thing. But it's my favorite dinosaur. I enjoy both figures, but I have to tell you that this one here, the more anatomically correct version from Schleich, very much fits my image of what the Ankylosaur is. Now, it's interesting that I was not able to find a glyptodont, I should say. Oh, no, it's glyptodon, which is a mammal that evolved to fill the very similar role that the Ankylosaurus had, because they ended up with a very high domed back looking very much like an armadillo, but they ended up with a club in the back here and a very similar skull structure and a very similar overall stance, because it's convergent evolution. They ended up filling the same ecologic niche that these creatures had filled during the age of dinosaurs. So these are the two figures that I've picked up like in the last week, and I'm really quite pleased with them. I think they're very cool, and I'm glad that they're in my collection.